Welcome to the show, everybody. So, October is my birthday month, and October is also my anniversary month with my wonderful husband. It's always been a month of reflection for me as I walk into a new year of being on this earth. So, I thought it would be interesting to go back on this Monday and reflect upon all of the ups and downs that we've had throughout this pandemic. And I've captured some of those feelings with the people I've interviewed since the beginning of March. So we'll start in March and we'll end in July. And then we'll take it up again at another date to see how far we've come and how much has changed as we all navigate through this global pandemic. So I hope if you are having a hard time today, that you reach out to somebody else because you are not alone. We are all in this together. Thank you for joining us.
Here are some of the things that have gone on in my mind. Number one, I truly believe that this is all happening to get us to really start thinking about how we're living our lives. Now, maybe if you had have talked to me 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said those exact words. But I have been doing so much self-seeking in the last 5 years, mostly the last 3 years, that I just know that everything is happening to work something out inside of us. I also would have never said that when my depression came, it was a great thing to happen because something needed to be worked out inside of me. And if I didn't allow that pain to come in, and if I didn't allow that depression to come in, I would never have been able to get to the other side.
Giving people information and access, and with Instagram and Facebook and all that, all those avenues out there.
Podcasting.
People ask questions. They want to know. They want reassurances. They want answers. And, a lot of it doesn't end up being directly, hey, I'm sick. It's, hey, I need information. And so, that's where we step in and say, yeah, what do you need? Text me, DM me, whatever. Then let me see if I can, if I can answer a question for you or put your mind at ease, or let you know where there's actual COVID testing and tests available in Tampa Bay.
I always like to start my day exercising. I like to get my endorphins going. But the one thing, I always start my day with an attitude of gratitude, because even in all of these uncharted territories that we are experiencing, there's something good about every day, something we can be grateful for. And I always try to find something good to be thankful for. And then in my office, we huddle each morning, and we've modified things from day to day based on the new recommendations for the practice. So we are remaining open, but we're following all of the necessary precautions.
Make this plea to my own small business doctors. You keep on seeing these patients. They need you. But if they don't need to come in, don't be a dick and not take care of them and say, hey, we could do a FaceTime visit instead. Because 2 months should not break the bank. Now, if it does, then you have other issues besides this coronavirus. That means that you're not planning or saving. And there's I'm pretty sure right now we have trillions of dollars that the government is just going to give us to not work for a while. Yeah, even somebody self-employed such as myself. I haven't even filled out the paperwork or looked at it. It's not the priority. The priority is to just be kind to others. And I'm going to stop because I'm really over the top tonight.
I saw this and I just looked at it to share with you, is before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Number 1, is it true? Number 2, is it necessary? And number 3, is it kind? Those are the words from the Buddha. So that we need to always pay attention to the words that we give our children. Are we giving them an opinion that is basically just something that somebody gave us, or is this really based on truth? And how necessary is for us to share this. So do we need to share something that is not necessary to share? And are we being kind? Because just because I think someone has doesn't look good today doesn't mean that I should go and say, oh, you don't look that good today, what's wrong? That is not kind or sensitive. So I just thought that was such a beautiful, that I actually recorded into my phone so that I would have some perspective on that.
Cognitive dissonance in the 2020s means that business people, doctors, all your client profile are going to have to be successful to continuing to operate in the reality that they've known. If they're successful, by definition, they've been operating in a past reality, and the new reality is going to be coming at so fast that you're going to have the cognitive dissonance of having to operate in two realities at the same time. And COVID is really the first universal experience where we've all had to do that, right? We've had the situation of this is me, this is my house, these are my friends, but the world is different. So how do I act differently? And I think to the mental health part, those that understand that the world has changed need to change. People who are resistant to change always end up waking up and kind of go, what happened to me?
Continuity of care. A huge term in the medical industry, everybody.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's wonderful because now the clients that I, seeing in the office, we just transfer over to the computer.
Yes.
And I thought that it would be like millennials would hop on it and say, oh, they loved it.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that really would rather have the in-person, in office. And I'm finding that
somebody named Alyssa that probably would feel the same.
Yeah. 40s, 50s are, hopping on and saying, yeah, this is great. I can do all this stuff and I don't have to hop in a car and, I'm ready. I'm energized. I got my therapy session out of the way and I can conquer the world, I think, as you said.
I talked to my therapist while I was flat ironing my hair 2 weeks ago.
See? Yeah.
It's going to take us as humans to lift each other up, to support each other, to show up and to take care of each other. And, we never have time. We never have anything. But you know what? Now we have time. People are talking about waiting for things to go back to normal. Can I say something? I don't want things to go back to normal.
I'm so happy to hear this.
Normal wasn't really working, right? I'm no psychiatrist, I'm no psychologist, but you know what? This is the time to use this to create the life that you want to live. Whether that's in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years from now. But you get to make it happen and you really get to control it. When we're so busy, I think it's very hard for us to make the changes much more difficult. Now the difficulties are different, but guess what? You get to be the hero of your story.
Be a resource for others during this time, thinking about what can I do to help. We talked about that. You gave me some good insight, but I want to be a resource for people who might need services or have questions about something that's going on. And so, yep, I'm here to volunteer my time. If anybody has any questions about things, adults, what is telemedicine or what is telehealth or how do we do this, or even just talking about how to stay connected during these times and have somebody to talk to from a communication standpoint. I want to offer myself as a resource for people during this time. And on the kid spectrum too, talking about changes in their daily lives, or if something's different with their language or their speech, or what do I do at home with them from a language standpoint and a speech standpoint. I can offer some guidance or some help. So I really would like anybody to reach out to me if they have any questions or just want to talk. I like talking.
Experience of watching the video of George Floyd, and I was part of the rallies with Trayvon and all of that. But this one hit, it was almost like, and I've seen people, and you may have seen it on some folks' posts as well, enough is enough. I think that we have to get over whatever the illness, the sickness, or this dis-ease that we are feeling, about someone who is human as we are. And I think we have to not be silent, whether or not, especially those who are not African American or not Latino Hispanic. I think it's very important for those individuals to speak out.
I think even though it's been scary for everybody to say, I don't know where this enemy is, we can't see it, it's, you know, camouflaged around with regular people. I felt like, you know, I work every day. I've worked day and night for many years. And I thought, I have never had this amount of time where I wasn't supposed to be somewhere. This is going to end soon. Let me appreciate this, be here present every day. I know, because I was watching you on social media, that both of us have tried to be really gentle with ourselves, but enjoy every day and push it to say, let me.
A friend I just found out in Indianapolis that got killed last night, and there's still questions about whether it was racially related, whether it was with the protest, whether it was a hate crime, and he was, you know, so it's every day, and you just feel like nothing's gonna change, and you see something so egregious and you think, all right, this one's gotta be it, and then it's not, and you're thinking, well, if this is gonna be the one that's gonna change the system, is it ever gonna change? And that was where I was at, like Saturday morning. I watched church online Sunday, and it was a very nice. They had two pastors kind of having a dialogue, a black one and a white one, and I was encouraged by that, encouraged by my conversation with you, and so there's some signs of encouragement, but like at the same time, for me, there's just such a defeated feeling that knowing that like what is it going to take? You know,
I believe a good investment of my time and energy is talking with people who consider themselves progressive and having conversations around how that looks, because I've seen it in little bits and pieces that I know maybe folks will say, LaFern, you're highly sensitive to it, and perhaps I am, I should be, but in little ways that it shows up that to me today says, I'm not sure you really understand how that feels to me and what makes it important for us to have conversations. And I want everybody to be unafraid of saying the wrong thing, because saying nothing is worse than saying the wrong.
It is a moment that is so important, and we cannot waste it. We cannot waste this moment. There are a lot of forces politically going on right now, an uprising or reignition of ignorance, hatred, unnecessary fear. And I think this is a time for all of us to, as I said in my little video, which I didn't even think would honestly have that big of an impact, but it starts with yourself. You've got to check yourself. Start there.
So, Sharon, number one has to be out in the community to meet people who might not be looking, but might be so impressed with somebody that they will reach out to them and say, hey, what are you doing? You know, who are you? What are you doing? Tell me about your background. And that might be getting involved in everything from charitable work to, you know, different groups of interest that one might have. So you've got to be out there. But I've never hired anybody in all of the years of All Trust from a resume or a cold.
Talk about transition times in this book, but I also talk a lot about my aha moments and the moments where things did work out for me, but there was a whole backstory of my life to get to those moments. And my whole time going through school, I just thought I was mediocre at everything. I didn't think I was meant for anything. I didn't think I really necessarily fit in with the crowd. And I just thought I was destined to a life of being stuck in the middle and not really finding anything or anyone I loved. So cut to all those years later, I get to VaynerMedia and someone says to me, this is your strength, this is your skill set, here's what it's called. I mean, think of all those years that I went through not knowing where I belonged and how hard and isolating that feels. And then to one moment, life brings you to the right place where you meet the person who validates it all for you.
The best things was plugging into a Facebook community for widows and widowers.
Ooh, nice.
Because I could connect with them and, you know, get supported when I felt okay, and be supported when I didn't feel okay. And it really was kind of helpful. And then I have a lot of friends. Social media is kind of nice because I don't think back in the day I could have, you know, put out a message in a bottle, so to speak, and had people respond. But I think social media, you know, whichever one you're plugged into, you can put out a message in a bottle and say, I'm lonely or I'm hurting now, and people will respond. You know, people respond. They reach out. It's a way to do it when you don't feel like you have someone in particular that you can reach out to.
All the data you want to know about stress, anxiety in the workplace, where we're all at. And I'm just going, look, we just need to get on with it now. You know, let's just stop talking about it and let's get on with it. And
We don't
this
actually
is where
need more data.
No, we don't need any more data. We just need people to take action on it.
Yes.
So, and this is where the leadership comes in. And I think, like I mentioned to you before we talked, the World Economic Forum, we're talking about the big reset. I think it's a massively positive phrase. I think we all have an opportunity to make changes now. And leaders have seen how their workforces have reacted in the last 6 months. We have been phenomenal. Like, I think everybody should be clapping themselves on the back. We've, you know, we've shown huge resilience in terms of agility, tenacity, using our strengths, you know, using humor, trying to think of the big picture. I think we really have done an amazing job. And I think leaders should be standing back and going, wow, you know, how can we take learnings from this? And how can we, you know, remold how we work with our team members? And ultimately, they also have to look after themselves. Again, all the data shows the impact of leaders who aren't in a good place. You don't leave a job, you leave your boss. So, you know, they have to start with themselves, and they also have to start, you know, start designing their business, you know, from, you know, with human capital.
So don't forget, if you mention that you have seen the show or listened to the podcast, Thai Technology, 3 months for free.